Hello and welcome to Top of Mind Florida with my friend and longtime colleague, Brian Crowley. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. We've got some wonderful guests with us today. Aspiring young journalist, Mikala Graham from Inlet Grove Community High, also in their medical program, and CB Hanif, who you two don't need an introduction, former
Exactly.
Palm Beach Post editorial pages editor, ombudsman, and everything in between. Welcome. Good to have you here.
And now a great teacher.
A superb teacher.
Inlet.
Talk about it a little bit. You and I met some time ago, and I was so intrigued by the fact that, as Brian and I talk often, we need that next generation of journalists to take up the baton. And CB, you and your entire team, including somebody who's shy off camera right now, but your entire team with young ladies and gentlemen are doing just that. Talk about that a little bit.
I think I always knew I'd be teaching. I come from a family of educators. I didn't expect it to be so soon. So after leaving the Palm Beach Post after more than 2 decades, I kind of landed at Inlet Grove, and it's been about 11 years of teaching journalism, multimedia journalism, and for adult journalism there. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the young people. I'm loving seeing the light come on, and the idea that we may have some young people to step in when we're ready to step away. That's very intriguing for me.
More important than ever.
So what do you see the differences between the younger generation and, old guys like him?
And even older guys like him.
You mean like,
Mikala's laughing. She's like, "Oh my God."
You mean like I didn't have a gray hair on my head right away? I'm loving the students. I'm loving that they're getting it. But frankly, we're talking about a generation that did not grow up reading newspapers, did not grow up reading print. That was what we did. For them, it's TikTok. We're talking about a generation that started with maybe a laptop, maybe a computer. Now they're on their phones. But, anecdote, I used to take the Palm Beach Post from my driveway to the classroom and put it in the corner, which was the editor's office. And originally they would look at the paper and then they stopped. I had one student who would look at the comics for a while. I actually discontinued my subscription because they weren't reading it. And I didn't have time to read it, but I was looking online. So we're talking about a whole nother generation.
Let's talk to the next generation. Mikala Graham, again, 11th grade in the medical program, but you also sort of got the journalism bug. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I started getting more into journalism this year because I wanted to, experience something new. And I was interested in it after I went to Mr. Hanif's class at my school. And then I was introduced to, new opportunities that I can be a part of to be more involved in journalism. So, yeah.
What intrigued you about it? What made you interested? Why do you like it?
We watched this movie called Spotlight in Mr. Hanif's classroom, and the journalist in that movie really showed me how interesting journalism could be, especially investigative journalism. So, yeah.
Right up your alley.
Yeah, investigative journalism may be the most important thing we're missing right now because of the shrinkage of old school journalism, even knowing what's going on in the schools. We have very little information about what goes on in the schools, and that impacts students and teachers because much of what's going on they don't necessarily know about as decisions are being made by school boards and the legislature and more. So there's a big impact because so little is being reported on now.
Mikala, what kind of things are you covering? What kind of things, after Mikala gives us a sense of what she's doing, are you trying to make sure they're covering? Talk a little bit about what you're out covering on the beat.
I've been covering about Riviera Beach and everything that goes on in it. We've covered the youth council, the water plant, and we've covered, just city council meetings in general.
What do you find interesting about it?
What I find most interesting is how it affects me because I actually live in Riviera Beach. So, issues like the water plant, that affected me personally because, I live there. So,
Sure.
And I should mention, so Mikala is part of our Community Voices team. That is an initiative that Joel Engelhard and Carolyn Apollo, our former colleagues from the Palm Beach Post, started at Stet News. So basically, we collaborate with Stet News. Well, really, it's almost like they're employees of Stet News now. They get training to cover municipal meetings. They write the stories and they get paid, and that's kind of unique. The thing that really impresses me is that they sit in council meetings and they get it. They understand. I mean, I don't know if that's where I was in high school, but I mean, can you talk about that? What is it like for you to hear the elected officials and your level of understanding what's going on?
Well, it's really nice to like hear them in person because we were originally watching the meetings online, but actually being in the room, as Mr. Hanif like tells us, it's like different. So just seeing them in person, um, I don't know. I feel like it's more real, and I feel like it affects us more when we like go in person.
Has your writing improved, you think?
Yes, it most definitely has. Like before, I was more like into journalism. I wasn't that great of a writer, but now that I'm more involved in it, I've become better and better the more like we do it.
Do you feel empowered? Is there a good feeling that you can go ask important questions and cover for your community issues like the water plant issues there that are important? I see a smile every time you talk about it. Talk about that a little more, the feeling it gives you and your young colleagues.
I feel like it gives me a voice where I can be heard by the people around me, especially the adults. Because I feel like nowadays the adults don't really listen to the younger kids, but then when we like provide them with important issues like these ones, they actually listen and more in like, I guess they like listen to us.
What
Yeah.
else are we not listening to as adults or older adults?
I feel like guess like the way that news is being like I guess produced because you know how you guys are mentioning how you guys used to read newspapers back in the day. We don't do that anymore. So you know,
A dagger in his heart.
Almost nobody does. So that's,
Yeah.
you know.
So I
But,
just
but you're talking about print. How about online? Are you looking at stuff, or your colleagues looking at news online?
I feel like we're more like engaged in the videos that we see and not really like reading it because I feel like my generation don't really have a great attention span. Like we lose interest very quickly. So I just feel like when we like watch videos, we are more attentive to it rather than just reading.
Do you see the value of you going somewhere and getting information? You know, there's so much out there now, and some of it's made up, some of it's rumor, and some of it they don't even go to the meeting. Do you now sort of get the other side of that? Why it's
Yeah.
important to have your voice where you're taking notes and doing all of that?
I
Talk
definitely
about that.
see. Because you know when I was mentioning the videos, sometimes it's not really as credible. So when I actually go out there and like read the facts for myself and go to the meetings and see like what goes on in those meetings, I see the importance of it and why people like my age should be more involved in it because it's like really a different experience when we go and actually watch the meetings in person.
See, they talk about the lessons that you're teaching them and hope to teach them.
I just think it's amazing as I watch it. I mean, she mentioned Spotlight. They've seen the classics, all the President's Men. I mean, they learn how journalism should actually work. But the main thing is that they're doing it, and that's becoming increasingly rare these days. For me, gosh, all those years at Palm Beach Post, editorial board with Brian, news ombudsman taking all the complaints from readers and writing a column. That was a lot of fun, but doing this work with these students is just so rewarding. And Brian will remember, even at the Post, I was involved with the high school journalism scholarships as a judge. Actually, was a Pathfinder judge until I started teaching because I couldn't do both. And I'm very proud to say we had a Pathfinder winner in communications. That's top communications student in the county. 1 year. I mentioned earlier today, Sephora Charles, who graduated, I think, 3 years ago, was my top editor. Just finished at FAU as their editor-in-chief. Now she's did a summer internship at the Tacoma, Washington newspaper. Going to Syracuse now next month with a full scholarship and a fellowship. And she's a writer. When I think of people like Lulu Ramadan, who was at the Post and was a Pulitzer candidate, I'm encouraged, but I don't see as many students with the interest these days. And I think we lost We lost a little bit with COVID. But it's just a whole different phenomenon what journalism is. I think, Brian, you alluded to it. We're not talking about investigative journalism as much as educators, and I think we need to do more of that. But back to Mikala, I mean, she's writing. You just finished the yearbook. They just finished their yearbook,
Yeah.
and she wasn't as involved, but she stepped in, and she and her buddy Amanda, I think they're already ready to start next year's yearbook, and they did the sports pages, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Brian, this must do your heart proud. You and I talk all the time off camera about that we need that next generation of people, truth finders, fact finders, go out and cover the
Well,
community.
Riviera Beach is a classic example. I often talk about most cities in Florida, most counties in Florida don't have anybody that's reporting about what they're doing. And to use just Palm Beach County as an example, with our nearly 40 cities that we have, most of them never see a reporter. The school board rarely sees a reporter because of the shrinkage we've had in reporting. So when you talk about the water plant in Riviera Beach, without you being there, the citizens of Riviera Beach know nothing about the water plant. And so what you do is very valuable in helping to keep citizens informed. And also reminding our elected officials, yeah, we're keeping an eye on you. Because if we're not keeping an eye on them, they can do anything they want, which often, unfortunately, can be abusive. Taxpayer dollars, resident interest, because of pressure they may get from developers or other interest. So the fact that you're doing that kind of work and that your colleagues are helping out with keeping a track of what's going on is really valuable to the citizens of Riviera Beach. And we need more of that. And that program you started is great.
It really is. Do you see that, what Brian and your wonderful mentor and teacher are saying? And do you see perhaps a future that will blend your interest in medical academy? This is a club for you at Inlet Row. Do you see blending those somehow?
Yes, I definitely do. I feel like as I grow older, I'll still be very involved in journalism, and I'll still be, I guess, civically engaged, and I would want to continue to report on the issues in my community so others can know about it. Because as you said, not many people know about what's going on in Riviera Beach because there's no one reporting on it. And I feel like as we've reported more and more, we've seen that, because whenever we're at meetings, people come up to us and say how we're doing such a great job, and how we're spreading the news, because no one really does this in our city. So yeah.
Good for you. You and I talk, and I've said to students, I'm doing some work at the college level. And one of the very first things one of them looked at me and said, well, I bet you don't think much of TikTok as a news vehicle. And I said, listen, I think it's silly for us to sit here and say, oh, back in our day. I said, no, TikTok is a vehicle you use. I said, but as a journalist, why not use TikTok? And the work you put on a TikTok, not speaking to you directly, but to your generation. And I said to these students, why not elevate the work and make sure what you do on TikTok is something that brings the kind of depth and insight that you're doing. It still can be fun, can still be well told, good video. And it was funny. In that class, suddenly with some, you saw the light going off. Okay, this is another way to use that vehicle, but elevate the game on it. So I know TikTok's big for y'all, but do you and your generation, do you and your friends see that you can use all these different ways you communicate in a different kind of way as young journalists?
I think some of us do, because, me and my colleagues, we were talking about how we could engage the youth by doing stuff like that, because as you were saying, TikTok is a very powerful tool, and we can use it to get more youth engaged in news and stuff.
I think that's wonderful. See me, you're smiling your head off over here.
I still do an editorial cartoon unit, and they love seeing them. But of course, they don't see them in newspapers, and I think rarely see them online. But at the same time, I'm reminding the folks that are constantly doodling. They're in the back room. And they're doodling on the desk, by the way.
They might find some of my old doodles on some of those desks back there, since I went to the same school.
But I'm reminding them that there's careers in that. There are people who get paid to do that. We work with one of the best. And your brother was one of the best. Pat Crowley was one of the best. And I really appreciated Pat when I first came to the Palm Beach Post. But Don Wright, also two-time Pulitzer Prize winner. And it was interesting to look at what he produced on a daily basis. But that was what it was like at the Post. I mean, working with legends like Brian.
Oh gosh.
that-
Oh boy. Here we go. Wait, get better in the light there, buddy.
Okay.
But I think the
Yes,
biggest transition that you've got is newspapers are gone. You know, journalism has fundamentally changed. I think whether you're watching it on TikTok or YouTube, like, you know, we're on YouTube, we're on all sorts of platforms, audio platforms, and you know, it's to me, it's less about the platform than it is about the accuracy. The basic reporting needs to be taught to the younger generation so that when they're watching TikTok, they can objectively look, is this being done accurately? Is it being done fairly? Am I getting information that's truthful? And if TikTok is the platform for providing that information about some topic, political or something going on in the neighborhood or something going on with your local government, great, fantastic.
Amen, said the
But
former
we-
news
you know,
ombudsman.
Well, but I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, we can mourn all we want about the death of newspapers, but it's gone. Move on. You know, don't you? What do you think?
I definitely agree with you because, as I said earlier, we don't really even read newspapers anymore, and I think it's important that we do like fact check what we like I guess what we open our eyes to seeing. But I do feel like TikTok is a great way. Like as I said, it's a powerful source, and we can use it to spread news, and we can use it to like engage young people.
How do you use TikTok?
Whoa. I I go on there. I mean, I do see news on TikTok, but I mainly go on there to just, I guess, engage with my friends
Right.
and get any like updates about like, I guess, my life, like the people around me. So yeah.
Well, as a young newswoman, do you look at TikTok and some of the things that are news there and look at them a little more critically now because of the work you're doing?
Yes, I do.
Talk about that.
I like when I see a video on TikTok and it's about this news, I normally I just go like down a rabbit hole and see if it's true or not. And I go like on different websites and like research more about it.
Good for you. And
Well-
that's a lesson in and of itself.
You know, now we have AI that can create a TikTok video that is absolutely untrue, but sounds true because it's so well done by AI. Should we be worried about AI?
I think we should because it's getting more and more like evolved each day. So that's why I said it's important that we fact check what we open ourselves up to because it's some of the time it's not true.
What do you think you do that AI can never do?
Report truth in a way that just report truth, you know, and be myself. AI can never be me. Yeah.
I love that. It can never be you. Your life experience and everything you bring to the table can never be you.
I should mention that Mikala is the journalism nominee. It's my journalism nominee for the Next Gen Gala, which is the successor to the My Teacher, My Hero that our illustrious leader, Dr. Emma Banks at Inlet hosted for many years. So, Mike, you're going to be judging.
Yes.
You've already judged
I had the
the
pleasure of coming over.
broadcast.
Yeah.
And a couple of students in the broadcast category could have been in my category because they'd taken my class and they excelled. But she's my nominee, and I'm just super proud of her.
Congratulations. Is this the most satisfying part of your career arc and story?
Well, perhaps. I mean, so a bunch of us took buyouts from the Palm Beach Post in 2008. More than 200 of us left the newsroom and other. In my case, some stints with the Coastal Star, Mary Kay Lemming, and again, some of our buddies, and Florida Weekly and South Florida Times. But I think, yes, I think this is it because, I mean, I got a letter from last year's editor-in-chief who I thought, she showed up 2 weeks, about 10 days ago, and she gave me a very heartfelt letter. I couldn't believe it. I should have bought it, but I'd probably be embarrassed to read it. And she was a little bit flaky toward the end, but she wrote a very, very heartfelt letter of thanks. She was in the journalism career. She's going to pursue business administration. which is another thing I encourage. I really encourage students to, if you're going to major in journalism, take some business classes. And sometimes I'll even tell them, you might want to major in business and take some journalism or media on the side, because we're trying to figure out this media landscape. When I first went there, which review is going to be the one to develop the business model for journalism? I was told you should start a newspaper. And I'm like, no, they don't read newspapers. They're not going to read newspapers. But what I did do was start an online student news site, which we call Grove Watch. I encourage viewers to check out grovewatch.com because they do a ton of great work. And it's them. I try to moonwalk away as much as I can from everything that they do and let them do it. So she'll probably be one of the top editors next year, the yearbook of Grove Watch. And yeah, I think the digital emphasis is what has been different for me. And in our last years at the Palm Beach Post, we saw that coming in. So it was very clear and obvious to me when I started teaching, yeah, that's where we needed to go. And they run with it.
And certainly on the TV news side all the time. And Brian and I, to the point, for 14 years over in WPTV, but we talk about that aspect of it too. For you, your future, you're such a gifted young lady. The work you're doing in the medical academy, you've got the work you're doing. Now that you're getting the journalism bug, what do you see for the next few years for yourself and down the road?
I see myself pursuing a career in medicine and, just going to college and just, being focused and studying.
And I should mention, if I can,
Absolutely.
we are a multimedia academy. In the Multimedia Academy, we have TV and film.
I saw this. It's wonderful. The studio's wonderful.
Web design, graphic design, and journalism. So that's one piece. That's the Multimedia Academy. Our biggest academy actually is the Medical Academy. And sometimes I upset my journalism students by telling them, my best journalism students are my medical students. But to tell the truth. But one of the key
You're going to hear it now, CV.
But one of the key things Dr. Banks has done is she has professionals in the career teaching the career. So we have a chef teaching culinary. We have doctors and nurses teaching medical. We have Mr. Berg, who does the maritime program. They're taking engines apart and putting them back together. And so we have professionals in each career teaching. And I think it makes a huge difference because all of those students can also take my class or the TV and film class. If they have an opening for an elective, they can take all these other classes. And one last thing I love about Integro is the diversity. It is one of the most diverse schools I know in our community. I really, really love that. We got, Kelvin, he's not born in Ukraine. His family is from Ukraine. I got Jamaicans, Bahamians, folks from all over, everywhere. Folks like Brian who grew up right here. And it's just, it's really one of the things I really love about being there, teaching, and enjoying watching them grow.
Mikala, how lucky do you feel that your paths crossed? If you didn't have these kind of programs there, what would you be doing or thinking about if you didn't have all this?
If I'm being honest, I really wouldn't know. Because before coming to Inlet, I was kind of, lost in what I wanted to do in my life. But when I came here, I had especially this year, with all these opportunities for journalism. And I say this to Mr. Hanif a lot, saying that journalism opens a lot of opportunities for us because I've been just given all these this, for example. I wasn't able to do this last year because I didn't know about it, Yeah.
You could end up being a medical journalist, taking your knowledge from journalism and applying it in the important medical field.
That's what I expect to happen. I really think that's what's going to happen. She may be editing the Journal of the American Medical Association. Pediatrics journal. I don't know. Would not be surprised.
Final thoughts from you first, Mikala.
Well, I'm really glad I came here today, and I just hope people my age get more involved in journalism as time goes on, and they see the importance and why we do this.
CB Hanif, final thoughts.
I'd like to refer people to grovewatch.com to see what their students like Mikala are producing. Also, Stet News. There's a drop-down menu for Community Voices, which was what we call her team. Team of students who get trained by Carolyn DePaulo, Joel Engelhardt, I mean, when I started teaching, I brought people like Frank Cherubino to the classroom, Rick Christie.
That must have been a hoot.
I could tell you stories. Rhonda Swan, the late great Rhonda Swan. Story there. Rhonda, I asked her to come, and she said, "Of course." And she came the next week. She didn't tell me she was dying of cancer. Went. Well, that's a whole nother story. But there are people I wish I could invite, such as Stebbins Jefferson, who most people in Palm Beach County couldn't wait to see her column on Serenities. Tom Blackburn, Bill McGowan, some of the giants that we worked with. So I'm very proud and thankful to be here with you two today, because you're legendary, and
That's
she's supposed to be in this.
legendary, just old. That means old.
Old. If you look it up in the
Legend.
dictionary,
OLD.
legendary, old.
You should be in the class. You're overdue to be in the classroom. So thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
No, we do. Brian, first of all, we're inspired by the work you're doing, CB, and more of us need to be thinking about that. And certainly having you as a guest, we're the ones who are honored to have you here because, as Brian said, you're carrying the torch for a lot of people about shedding light on what's going on in our community. And it's interesting, it's important, it's exciting, and we're glad people like you are doing it, Mikala. Brian?
Well, let me wrap up by saying thank you for being here. Thank you for watching or listening to Top of Mind Florida. If you're not a subscriber, you should be. And if you're not a subscriber, I'm going to get Mikala after you. So she's going to write about you. So thank you for watching.